It's a beautiful day on Spaceship Earth. You're 9 years old. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, little Adeline. Happy birthday to you. The cormorants, they say happy birthday. Look at them, they're happy sitting up there in the sun, getting dried out before they go fishing again. They've probably been out fishing this morning. Did your cormorants find some good breakfast? Yeah. Once their feathers get all wet, they got to dry them out. They're not like the other ducks. They're a different family of we call them fish ducks. Well, we're part of the fish ducks like that, but the cormorants are their own family. They're not part of the I think they're probably a little more closely related to like the seagulls. They're sort of their own thing, the cormorants. Certain parts of the world they use them. They use them for trained. In Asia, I don't know if it's the exact same cormorant as our cormorant. I think it's a little different, but they trained them to retrieve fish. They get out of nets and I don't know what else, but they have them as they're pretty docile. Cormorants are. Probably makes them fairly easy to domesticate and train. I rescued one when I was a little kid, really little, probably about 5 years old, something like that. Brought it home. We nursed it back to health. And then it got better and took off. Just walked around the house for a couple of days. We fed it some shrimp, I think. I think we had some shrimp and we fed it shrimp. Oh, nature gives us so much enjoyment. And that sunlight shining on our bodies, it does so much for us. It does all kinds of things. It helps us heal from being sick. It helps us produce vitamin D. It helps our brain. It helps us produce all kinds of important neurotransmitters, and helps our brain to kind of I don't know the exact right word I'm looking for, but it just kind of helps your brain to find balance. It's a part of the circadian rhythm, and the sunlight has a whole spectrum of light, so it includes many different wavelengths. And indoor lighting doesn't usually have that. It really doesn't have that at all. There's companies that are starting to make products to try and do that. Most of our indoor lighting, generally speaking, the type of lighting that we work under is just one very narrow band of blue light, which doesn't give us all the different other benefits that it seems to be an imbalance. We get too much blue light. Blue light's important, but it's like anything. We get too much of one thing and we don't get the others. Whereas the sun has a full spectrum of light of different wavelengths. And that's why also indoors a lot is we found that because we don't get much red light indoors, it's important for people, especially when you're not getting out in the sun, is you can get red lights and use them to help with your health. Got some people jogging with their dogs. Hi. Oh, you see those folks? See, the body's a really interesting thing because if we take care of it, and there's lots of things that we think are too hard to do, like lots of things, all kinds of things, but when we learn that we can overcome one thing, it teaches our mind that we can also kind of apply that same mentality to other things. So jogging and running is one of those things. When you start trying to build endurance, say start jogging longer distances or running longer distances, it seems almost impossible. It's like, I mean, there are limits. There are limits. But those limits are way higher than what we think they are. And we start little by little. And you can run a mile. You keep practicing. And you can run 2 miles. You keep practicing and you can run 3 miles. And you get to a point, for a lot of people it is like about 3 miles. And they think, oh, this is as much as I could ever do. But that's just because the body is kind of saying, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of like maybe even a self-preservation kind of thing. And you have to teach yourself through practice that you can go much further than that. And you keep working at it, adjusting, how fast you run and how you breathe, practicing building up your respiratory system by breath work, both when you're not running and also while you're running. And then all of a sudden, one day you'll just be able to go another mile. Now you've gone 4 miles. And then if you want to keep practicing, you can go a lot further. Some people run 50 miles. That's not too many people want to do that, but that's not necessary to run 50 miles unless it's a challenge for you that you really want to undertake. But you can definitely do it, and it teaches you how much other things you can do. So it would be the same thing with any other challenge that you take on. Running's just a really good example because it's kind of just between you and nature and your mind and your body. But team activities can be the same way. A team that really puts the effort in amongst the whole group can achieve really great things. There's a dog. Hey, how are you? Yeah. I had the camera set zoomed in. That's not too good. Oh well. Look how beautiful it is. The water's calm. Getting on the second half of November now. Water's getting clear. Water's usually much more clear in the colder months. probably for a couple of different reasons, but the main reason is that the water conditions, the warm water conditions, and a lot of rain in the summertime causes the microorganisms, the algae, to blossom, and that makes the water cloudy. And then in the wintertime, the water gets cold and it stops the growth of the microorganisms, and the water starts to get clear. But there's other factors too. We also have a prevailing northeast wind in the wintertime, and that causes us for more ocean water to come in. Also, fertilizers that come from the farms, they run off in the time of the year when they start to use fertilizers, start to plant crops, and they start to, disturb the soil with planting and harvesting and all that kind of thing. And that fertilizer, it doesn't just feed the plants, it also, when it goes into the water, it also feeds the microorganisms in the water, and it causes the microorganisms in the water to grow faster. And it can be a problem. A lot of places that are real close to farmlands, they get these huge algal blooms and they deplete the oxygen in the water. So there's some things that farmers can do, should do, that help to mitigate that. And that's by one of the biggest and easiest things to do is to plant a row of vegetation like trees and things near where the water runs off of the farmland. It's called I think it's called a riparian buffer. And I think it's probably named after somebody who first recognized its value or suggestion. But anyhow, a lot of farmers are doing that now. It'd be nice if they all did. And that captures a lot of those fertilizers by the vegetation before it gets into the water system, before it runs off. So trees and things can soak up a lot of that water, and then